Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hard4Games channel. I'm your host Tony, and today we're taking a look at my ultimate Virtual Boy setup. We have everything here from a Virtual Boy that's been video out RGB modded, to a handmade custom Virtual Boy joystick, to a flash cart, to other various accessories and a shirt. So let's go ahead and get started. Hope you enjoy. So some of this stuff is currently available, some of this stuff is not currently available. Regardless, I'm going to tell you where I got each, so that way, even if it's not currently available, you can kind of keep an eye out for if the creator posts any new tweets or whatever, any updates for when these things might become available again, hopefully soon. So first things first, let's talk about the crown jewel of the collection here, a video out modded RGB modded Virtual Boy. This mod was created by Furrtek. Did an excellent job. Basically, you could buy the components to do the mod yourself, and you would be able to do video out. Unfortunately, I had missed the deadline for ordering by about a week. Contacted him twice via Twitter, twice via email, and I think he was just done because he did not respond to me whatsoever. Or maybe he just thought it was really weird to receive an email from a show called Hard4Games, and it might have thought it was spam. So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But regardless, he made an absolutely excellent product. I bought this off of someone who had done the mod themselves after purchasing and then resold. So this solves a lot of problems right here. Now, obviously, if you're exporting to a TV, you no longer have the issue of hunching over to play in the Virtual Boy on these crappy stands, right? You don't have the hunch, you don't have the awkward angle. And Virtual Boy games really bother a lot of people's eyes. It gives them headaches, eye strain, that kind of thing. I never personally had any of those issues with it, but I did notice that I didn't end up playing the Virtual Boy for very long because it was A, cumbersome, and B, everything was just kind of so small that I never really did as well in the games. Like Wario Land, I never really got super far because I just, for some reason, it being so small, I don't know how to describe it. It was just sort of weird. Like I didn't get that with Game Boy, but with a Virtual Boy, like for some reason, I just didn't feel like playing it for very long, I guess, if that makes sense. It probably doesn't, but that's just my personal experience with it. But the video out completely solves that. Totally solves those two issues with the Virtual Boy. So you can really kind of play this as an arcade machine, which is kind of what it is, because like we mentioned in our Virtual Boy review that I did with Richie, you know, they didn't really have the power to do virtual reality, and they didn't know if the 3D would harm people's eyes, so they kept things very short and sweet, arcade-ish, and it really does feel like an arcade machine, especially when you do video out and play with a joystick. So, a couple neat features here. This has color change on the fly. Red, yellowy, green, sort of a aqua, grayscale, blue. It appears as purple on the camera, but it's blue. Then actual purple, grayscale, inverse, and back to red right there. You know, games like golf, right? Big complaint about the game Golf for Virtual Boy. Oh man, everything's red. The color I think of when I think of golf is green. Okay, we'll change it to green. Or take a look at this here. We have fishing, a Japanese only release for the Virtual Boy. Well, what do you think of when you think of fishing? I think of blue, right? Well, change it over to blue, if that's what you want to do. One funky thing about this is that the audio that outputs from the TV is connected to the audio that outputs from the Virtual Boy. So listen to this. It's outputting from both at once. So if you want sound from your TV and not the Virtual Boy, you just plug in some headphones in the Virtual Boy, problem solved. You can still get output onto your television. Another fun thing is that this is still functional as a Virtual Boy. You don't lose that 3D capacity with it. This is still outputting video from the two screens in the Virtual Boy. And it still has a 3D effect just fine. And lastly, because this is RGB out, it utilizes a SCART cable, and those of us that utilize SCART cables probably have an OSSC or FrameMeister. I have an OSSC, and you can line quadruple it, so you get this up to a nice 1080 image. 1080, it's kind of like fake 1080 because it's, you know, doubling the lines multiple times, but it does look nice on the TV. So next up we have this arcade stick, a Virtual Boy arcade stick, custom homemade by Benj Edwards. You can follow him on Twitter if you'd like. He has a website called BX Foundry where he creates handcrafted, homemade arcade sticks for a variety of consoles, including the Virtual Boy. Unfortunately, due to the just massive interest of this and other joysticks, he's slowed down production. And at least of the Virtual Boy controller, I believe I have the last one because he actually reopened his store for me to be able to purchase one. I had talked to him about getting one, I hemmed and hawed for a little while, and then ultimately I pulled the trigger. So, sir, if you're watching, if you're listening to this, I do really appreciate you reopening the store for me to be able to do that, and this is just a delight to play. This is just super, super high quality. You got the nice click here. Everything's super responsive with this. As you can see, sort of the button layout. And of course you have a power switch, right? Remember that your Virtual Boy controller supplied power to the unit. And oftentimes that power was a little bit fickle and unreliable. You know, this thing can jostle around. I've had these battery packs go bad, not because of the batteries, but just for whatever reason, they just went bad and wouldn't supply power anymore to the unit. So this is a nice, stable power supply for the Virtual Boy. So to recap, I think of the Virtual Boy as an arcade machine. So now we have RGB out, an actual arcade stick, and reliable power. When I'm playing this thing, that's the vibe I get. Arcade. So sticking with the theme of you not being able to have these, unfortunately, it wasn't my intention. I would like all of these to be available, but unfortunately, they're just not. A lot of these homebrew things kind of come in a quick batch, people buy them up, and then it's just gone. But here's a Flash Boy. It is one of the original, or the original, Virtual Boy flash cards. It has a USB connector on the top here. It can hold one game and has no save functionality. You can, however, put homebrew games on it and play them on your Virtual Boy, so that's pretty cool. Eventually they did create a second version of this that had save functionality, although I'm not sure if it could hold more than one game though. I got this back in 2009 on Planet Virtual Boy. I think it was 2009. Maybe 2009 or 2010 on Planet Virtual Boy. Either way, it was a long time ago, and the creator is no longer selling these things. That said, I have heard rumblings of a new Virtual Boy Flash cart online, one that will likely be able to hold many more games and have a save feature. But keep your ear to the ground because there might be some hope in the future that this thing actually does come out, and instead of buying these stupidly expensive Virtual Boy games, you could just flash them to a cart and play them that way, like a sane person. So this next one is kind of weird. It's actually a dust cover that looks like the Virtual Boy. I got this on Etsy from a company called Printer Boy, but this is just a dust cover. It's just a dust cover that looks like a Virtual Boy. And the great thing about this is that the Virtual Boy has a lot of little cracks and crevices. When we did our review of the Virtual Boy, I was cleaning out the unit, and my God, did it develop a lot of dust. I was just like going through with a Q-tip, and I still could not get everything out of this damn thing. So this is just kind of a really cool, not super expensive dust cover. Looks nice, you know, so you can still kind of have it on display if you want to. And it just slides right on. And the store also has a variety of other dust covers that are similar for like the SNES, Genesis, that kind of thing, that look like an SNES or Genesis or whatever system you happen to be purchasing it for. So lastly, I actually have a 3D printed mount connected to this Virtual Boy here. And the reason why I did this originally is because my original set of Virtual Boy legs just exploded one day. They're not very high quality, unfortunately. So I was looking for an alternative, and I didn't want to buy third-party dinky legs because they're still bad. So I ended up getting this 3D printed mount from eBay. And I'll go ahead and put a link in the description below, as I will with all of these products. But basically it's just a 3D printed connector that goes on the bottom of the Virtual Boy. And then you screw in a tripod mount on the bottom. There's already a screw hole. You just twist it a couple times. And boom, you can go ahead and put it on your tripod. Just like so. Latches on. And the nice thing about this is that, okay, first off, it gets rid of the need for these dinky little unstable, very breakable legs. But this also allows you to adjust the height because it's a tripod. So let's say you want to play it traditionally, you don't have an RGB out modded unit. Well, you can get a tripod, get that thing, sit on whatever chair you want to sit on, and adjust the height of the Virtual Boy so you're not like hunched over and playing uncomfortably. You can actually enjoy the experience and sort of lounge while you play. So that's it, guys. I hope that you all enjoyed the episode today. It's a little bit different setup than we normally have, but I wanted to showcase these because I thought it was kind of weird and interesting that any of these even exist. So again, I'm going to go ahead and put links in the description below for where I got all of these devices and mods and units and all that good stuff. And none of this is sponsored, by the way. No one cut me a break on any of these in terms of price or anything like that. It's just stuff that I think is pretty neat and wanted to showcase to all of you. So buy it or don't, doesn't make a difference to me, but you know, at the end of the day, it is nice to support individuals that are creating high quality devices for the retro gaming community. So that in mind, do what you will. Either way, I hope that you all enjoyed. Cheers, thank you for subscribing and ringing that bell, and we'll see you all next time.